How's YouTube? How's it going, everybody? Yeah, I know it's been like 3 days since I've last uploaded. Reason being is that I've just been busy with personal life stuff. Also, I have not had any alone time to be able to narrate. Like, I don't like narrating when there's somebody in the room with me. It just kind of makes me feel awkward and weird, and just, yeah, that's also another big reason why I haven't uploaded. But my sister's not home. I'm in her room, and yeah, I'm narrating. That's really all. Anyways, how's it going, everybody? Yeah. Anyways, this was a really fun battle that I had on my most recent stream. As I said, I will try to stream sometime this week. Actually, maybe tomorrow or Thursday for sure. So be on the lookout for that. Anyways, looking at my team, I got a very fun team. Don't want to ramble on for too long. I got Trevenant, Mega Bayonet, Standard Rotom Wash, Bulky, Rapid Spin, Mobreaker, Excadrill, Focus Sash, Stealth Rocking Mamoswine, and Weakness Policy Dragonite. Now, looking at my opponent's team, which is TheRabidChipmunk, I'll leave his channel link down in the description. He did say he would get back to uploading around January, so feel free to go subscribe to him and watch out for his future videos. Now, I'm not really too worried about anything on his team except for maybe that Talonflame. But as long as I keep around my Rotom Wash, I should be able to deal with it accordingly. And then I have to find out which Mega Evolution is going to have, whether it'll be Mega Blastoise or Mega Tyranitar, so I can know how to deal with it. So I'm going to be leading off with my shiny, perfect, beautiful Trevenant, as he's going to be leading off with his Rotom. So knowing that Rotom can't do anything to my Trevenant, I'm going to predict him to switch into his Talonflame and go for the Rock Slide. And just look at this. This is the most beautiful turn in all of Pokemon battling history. I'm able to get rid of one giant threat very first turn of this battle, and everybody at the stream was going crazy about it. I wish I had the recording so you guys could hear just how excited I was when that happened. But he's going to bring in Blastoise. I'm just going to stay in knowing that I can take any move that he wants to go for. As it turns out that he does have the Mega Blastoise, goes for the Dark Pulse, and does entirely way too much damage to my Trevenant. So after I go for the Horn Leech, I'm at around 49% HP, so I'm going to predict him to go for another Dark Pulse, and I'm going to bring in my Rotom, which is really the only other wall on my team, and that does 50%. So I'm going to stay in thinking, alright, I'm going to lose my Rotom, but he already lost Talonflame, so I don't really need my Rotom as much. But he actually hard switches directly into his Tyranitar, I guess maybe fearing the fact that I could be faster than him, which is perfectly understandable, which means I'm going to be able to save my Rotom for later in this battle, as I both switch into my shiny, perfect Excadrill, which is on an air balloon. I'm just going to go for the safe move, which is the Earthquake. Yes, I know he does have the Gourgeist, but in the end, on the options that maybe he did predict me to switch out, it's still very early on in the battle, and just Earthquake was just the safest play I could go for, as he does bring in the Gourgeist. When he went for Frisk, I actually thought that it said he was on the air balloon, which I found to be very odd, but obviously that is not the case, and he just frisked my item, and I do a decent bit of damage thanks to the fact that the Sandstorm is up. I'm going to be nullifying his leftovers, so predicting him to go for the possible Leech Seed or Will-O-Wisp, I'm going to make the safe switch into my Trevenant, as he does end up going for the Will-O-Wisp. I do indeed have the Lumberry, so I'm not worried about the burn whatsoever, and as long as I get my Harvest back, I should be able to deal with this Gourgeist one-on-one. And the reason why that was sped up is because it was just literally 10 seconds of after turn effects. As it goes for the Shadow Stick, I'm able to actually just barely live on around 22 HP, allowing me to be able to go for the rest. I did indeed get my Lumberry back, if you didn't see it. So in the end, if he really wants to stay in with his Gourgeist on my Trevenant, eventually I will beat it one-on-one, and luckily for me, I'm able to get my Lumberry back again, which means if he does want a Will-O-Wisp, it'll be in vain. So I go for my own Will-O-Wisp. As he predicts that, he's going to bring in the Rotom, which is actually really good for me, because now I'm going to be able to start getting that very well needed residual damage to be able to get rid of his Rotom, as he ends up hard switching directly into his Tyranitar, which I find to be very odd. I'm not sure what he did on Volt Switch. I'm guessing maybe he thought that I would be faster than him, but the fact that he brought in Tyranitar on my Trevenant is the really odd part. I guess maybe he knew he could take a hit, or maybe he thought I would switch out and then I would stay in fearing the pursuit, that way he can knock me out with the crunch. But still, that was a very odd play for him to do, as he does end up going for the crunch on my switch into the Excadrill. Luckily for me though, he didn't pursue, which means I can still keep my Trevenant around for this battle, which as you're going to see, Trevenant is going to be a huge help in this battle. So predicting him to switch into the Gourgeist, I'm going to double switch into my Mamoswine, but he stays in, maybe predicting me to go for the Swordsdance, or actually switch out predicting the Gourgeist, which was a really good play on his part, and is going to be able to get off a decent bit of damage on my Mamoswine. And this really sucks because my Focus Sash is now gone, and I really wanted to keep the Focus Sash intact on my Mamoswine for the Blastoise or the Galvantula on the off chance that I needed to take a hit from one of those two, as I make a really dumb play and I go for the Earthquake, completely forgetting about the Rotom. He switches it in and then is going to predict me to switch out and go for the Volt Switch, which again, I don't know why he did a Volt Switch earlier. I guess he does think that his Rotom is slower than my Trevenant, which you're going to see that throughout the battle, that little bit of chip damage with Volt Switch really doesn't end up mattering like whatsoever. But he does Volt Switch into Tyranitar again. Fearing the pursuit, or fearing the fact that I could stay in and he could crunch, I'm actually going to hard switch right down into my Rotom as he does over predict and is going to go for the crunch. I'm able to easily take the hit, and I should be faster than this Tyranitar, so I'm just going to stay in and I'm going to go for the rest, knowing that this is going to be a free turn for him to do whatever he wants. I'm not entirely too worried about it. I just want to be able to have my Rotom at full HP, because this is now going to be a good switch into that Tyranitar, and I can burn Tyranitar, or I can Volt Switch, or I can Hydro Pump. So I don't want to take a possible Energy Ball, so I'm going to switch out into my Trevenant, except I fucking misclicked on my Excadrill. Luckily for me though, he ends up going for the Sticky Web, and then I'm going to stay in because I don't want my Trevenant to take any unnecessary damage. But he actually switches into the Gourgeist, I guess predicting me to go for the Rapid Spin, which isn't a bad play whatsoever. And obviously Gourgeist can take literally any move that my Excadrill wants to go for, but predicting him to just go for the safe Will-O-Wisp or even the Leech Seed possibly, I'm going to switch into my Trevenant. And due to the fact that he does have the Sticky Web, this now means I will be slower than the Gourgeist. But as you saw earlier in the battle, Gourgeist was not doing too much damage with the Shadow Sneak, which means if it really comes down to it, as I said, Trevenant will be able to beat Gourgeist one-on-one. So I'm just going to go for the safe Will-O-Wisp as he predicts this. He's going to bring in the Galvantula, which really isn't too bad of a play just because this Trevenant is max special defense and max HP. Well, it's not a bad play for me. It's very odd for him because he's not going to be able to do anything to my Trevenant, because just look at how much damage that Bug Buzz did. So I'm going to go for the Rock Slide. Luckily for me, he actually lives the burn, and the reason I say this is because I know that next turn I will be able to live a Bug Buzz, and due to the fact that I got my Lumberry back with Harvest, I'm going to be able to go for the rest and be brought back up to full HP, which means this Galvantula literally did nothing to my Trevenant, which is really good for me, and I'm going to be able to get my Lumberry back actually thanks to my Harvest. So yeah, as I said, just Trevenant really putting in some work right now. So he's going to bring in Tyranitar, much like the 50 times this has happened earlier in the battle. I'm going to hard switch directly on out as he just over predicts again. Either that or he really does not have Pursuit, because he should have pursued it eventually. But either way, I'm going to bring in my Rotom. As I said, my Rotom is a good switch into this Tyranitar because I will be able to outspeed it and do anything to it that I want to do. He does end up getting a crit defense drop, which doesn't end up mattering at all in the long run of the battle. So I'm just going to stay in, and I believe I do just end up going for the Volt Switch as he actually brings in his own Rotom, which again, a questionable play, but I'm thinking the reason why he did this was so he could just go for the rest and be brought back up to full HP, as I make a stupid play, forget about the damn Sticky Web, and I bring in my Excadrill. And because I do have Mold Breaker, this actually forces him to go for the Hydro Pump. So in the end, the fact that I did this was actually not too bad of a play in my opinion, because I forced him to go for the offensive play, which means now he's in a position where he cannot go for the rest, allowing me to now bring in my Bayonet, and I'm going to be able to Mega Evolve. I do indeed have the Shadow Sneak, which means I'm going to be faster than him, and I'm going to be able to knock him out before he's going to be able to go for the rest and be brought back up to full HP. So yeah, that misclick with Excadrill was actually not that bad of a play. Also, not to mention that Excadrill honestly wouldn't have done anything else in this battle because his last couple remaining Pokemon are faster than it, or he just can't do anything to them. So I knock out the Rotom as he brings in the Gourgeist. This thing is just really getting on my nerves at this point. So my thought process here was to go for the Shadow Sneak and get off a decent bit of damage before he burns me. Then the following turn, I'm going to be able to burn him with my Will-O-Wisp. But we just go for Shadow Sneaks, and then we're going to exchange burns. So yeah, we just went for the same moves 2 turns in a row, which I found a little bit funny. But yeah, we're both going to burn each other. But this is actually more beneficial to me because now my Trevenant will be able to beat this Gourgeist one-on-one. And his last remaining Pokemon are Tyranitar and Blastoise, which cannot switch in safely to a Hornleech coming from my Trevenant. So he really has no option but to leave in Gourgeist for Death Fodder unless he wants something else on his team getting knocked out. And yeah, this is just really sped up because it was literally like 6 turns of me just going for Hornleech, trying to knock out this Gourgeist, or on the options that he did switch out for some dumb reason, just knocking out whatever he brought in. But yeah, I'm able to get rid of the Gourgeist. So yeah, Trevenant proving why he is the superior grass ghost type. As he brings in the Blastoise, nothing on my team wants to switch into this, so I leave in my Trevenant for fodder. As I bring in my Dragonite, I'm going to go for the Dragon Dance, hoping and praying that he would go for the Ice Beam, but no, he goes for the Scald, and he burns me. As I said, this is a weakness polished Dragonite, not a Lumberry Dragonite, which means that burn is just really going to hinder my Dragonite. But he does predict me to go for the Outrage as he brings in the Tyranitar. Thanks to min-max damage, I am actually going to be able to 2-hit KO this Tyranitar. And at this point, his last Pokemon is the Blastoise. Above that, I'm actually able to get the 3-turn Outrage, which means I'm going to be insured a good amount of damage on this Blastoise. As he just barely lives, he's going to be able to knock me out with the Dark Pulse. He gets a crit, which I highly doubt matters. But at this point in the stream, I was like, alright, I'm going to bring in Mega Bayonet, and I'm going to go for the Destiny Bomb, because I want Mega Bayonet to get a kill. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for the Destiny Bomb. But of course, Rabbidiah has to steal that dream away from me. And he goes for the Rabbit Spin, and he just lets himself get knocked out by the sand. But yeah, that was just a really fun battle. I know it was a little bit lengthy, but I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to see more content. If you missed my previous upload from like 3 days ago, it was a very fun, good, short Wi-Fi battle. A link to that should be on your screen right now. Feel free to click it. And tomorrow I should be uploading a PS Live for those of you who enjoy those. But yeah, with that, guys, this video is long enough. Enjoy the rest of your night and day, and I am out of here. Later.